While waiting for the other participants to join us in today's event, let us first watch these videos about Project AETA and the sponsors who made the World Education Week celebration possible.
Citizenship education is all about equal opportunity. It is about creating a borderless world by promoting international understanding and active participation of students, families, and the whole community. DSED is a force toward a powerful and transformed society that celebrates unity in diversity, and that is GSED 2.
Knowledge starts with an identity, family, cultural diversity, passion, goals. All this work to make an impact to the world we live in, hoping to create a ripple effect of action. This is what Project AETA is all about, real education that begins with understanding.
Hello, my name is Vikas Pota. The reason why we're organizing this global showcase for World Education Week is we believe that schools have incredible expertise in making sure that learning outcomes improve. Given the state of the world, we want to see the expertise from this particular school being replicated in schools all over our planet so that the world becomes better for everyone. That is why I congratulate this school for what it does and hope that those listening can take away conclusions as to how they should actually approach their own improvement journeys. Thank you all for participating, and I look forward to seeing you in many of the other events this coming week. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors for supporting this incredible work, without whom we couldn't have put together this global showcase. Thank you, and I wish you well for this event.
Fast-paced social, economic, and technology-driven change is redefining our world. And having a broad range of skills, such as creativity and problem-solving, has become far more important than being able to memorize information. To redefine how our children learn, and to empower them for the future, parents, teachers, and policymakers must stop overlooking a powerful part of the solution: learning through play. Play is the rocket fuel of child development, and there is a growing body of evidence to support that play is fundamental for children's positive growth and well-being over time. It is also an essential way to foster the skills required to thrive in today's world. The LEGO Foundation aims to build a future in which learning through play empowers children to become creative, engaged, lifelong learners. To do so, we work with a range of partners around the world to change the hearts and minds of all of those who influence children's lives through our programs, research and advocacy, so they can all embrace the transformative power of play. Examples of what we do include making sure that caregivers, practitioners and policymakers understand the importance of play, investigating, testing and scaling new ways to bring play-based learning into homes and schools, using play to help millions of the world's most vulnerable children cope with adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress, or conducting research with some of the world's leading research institutions. Please visit our website and follow us on social media to learn more.
Language connects us all. It's how friendships are formed, ideas are shared, and lessons are learned. Language is how we find understanding and express love. It's how we communicate our successes, both big and small. It lays the groundwork for learning and growth. And for an increasingly diverse student population, it can be the key to achievement in school and beyond. That's why Rosetta Stone Education is dedicated to language and literacy. We offer solutions designed to support teachers and their emergent bilingual students, recognizing and celebrating the knowledge, culture, and languages they bring to our classrooms. Our products are founded on the adaptive blended learning model for individual needs, continuous progress monitoring for better learning outcomes, and culturally responsive pedagogies for more inclusive classrooms. With solutions aligned with proficiency standards, we support language learning while exploring academic subject areas, paving the way to better outcomes. Because for all of us, language is everything.
Dear T4 community, we talk a lot about teachers these days, but we rarely listen to them. Therefore, I'm truly excited to join the T4 World Education Week to hear from teachers and school leaders all over the world how we can impact learning together. I'm particularly looking forward to the global showcase. 100 schools sharing their expertise and best practices, I believe, will be a huge motivation for other schools around the globe. I'm equally impressed by the T4 Solutions Challenge, its finalists and their solutions to real-world issues in education. This gives me hope that we can, together, turn around education globally. The Jacobs Foundation is a proud supporter of the T4 World Education Week because we share a vision to reimagine learning and education by bringing together the brightest people who understand how children learn. Let's do this together.
We now live in a borderless world where anything is possible and dreams become more reachable. Education is accessible. There is enough food. Opportunities are innumerable. Families are safe and healthy. The youth are active. The government is focused on progress. Peace and harmony can be felt.
Technology is being maximized. Nations are united. Everyone is treated with equality and respect. Yes, it remains a borderless world, yet the rest is portions of a dream, my silent dream, which is not a borderless world, but of a better world. Growing as a member of the indigenous people, I have always felt the need to belong, to be somebody more than my label. Being able to graduate and landing into a teaching profession, all I thought that is the end goal, but I felt empty. Thus, the birth of Project AETA. I built a weekend reading and writing school for the Agtas in our barrio. Financially, I cannot support the needs of this program, but one by one, help came. From food to school supplies, I realized that I am not alone in this. All I wanted was to teach them letters and numbers, but I realized I started to teach them life. I started educating them about health, environment, and well-being. Parents come to me for concerns I can accommodate. They started to ask what they can be, what they can do, and who can be of help. The program ignited their interest to belong. Just because of color, they think they deserve less. Now, they feel human, entitled of their rights to learn and dream. Project AETA is no more about me. It is no more about them. It is about us and the actions we do with what we see around us. I am a witness of the horrors of today, but I won't remain a witness.
Hello everyone, mabuhay. Greetings all the way from the Philippines. I hope everyone is safe and sound wherever you are right now in this very challenging time. Despite that, we are gathered to listen to our esteemed panels who will enlighten us on ways and means to reach out to our brothers and sisters who are members of the indigenous communities. This particular topic will be discussed by our panels from the different sectors of our government, specifically the Department of Education, DepEd International Cooperation Office, DepEd Apayao, and the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples. In reaching out to these communities, we need to understand their needs, expand our reach, and collaborate with agencies and organizations. All these will be presented to us by our panels today. Should you happen to share or post anything about this event, please do not forget to use our official hashtags, hashtag World Edu Week, hashtag Project AITA, hashtag Inclusive Education, and hashtag IPs in Focus. To our participants, you will be given the floor to ask your questions after all the speakers have discussed. By the way, I am Engineer Roderick Narag Macariola, a full-time college instructor at the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila and a creative consultant for NCP Studios, your moderator for today. We now get the ball rolling as I introduce to you our first speaker. She joined the department since 2007, got promoted as Teacher 3 in 2010, and graduated her master's last 2013. This year, she just finished her doctorate degree. She is a hard-working and an honest employee who takes her work very seriously, helping her a lot in passing the principal test last December. She started her project AITA last October 2019, which makes her busy on weekends. Recently, she won third place among the 200 entries on the UNESCO APSIU Challenge on Video and Photo Contest for 2020 online SAM conference, which you have seen moments ago. Let us all welcome Dr. Chandler B. Ibabaw.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chandler Ibabo, the proponent of Project AETA. Project AETA is addressing Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 4, which is quality education. Initially, Project AETA, which stands for Accessible Education for Agtas, intends to advocate the fourth Sustainable Development Goal of United Nations, which is quality education. The beneficiaries composed of 17 school-going age Agtas from 14 Agta families residing in our community, Capannikian, Pudtol, Apayao, which was launched last October 2019 with the help of the barangay officials of our own barangay. Project objectives of this are to increase the number of child, youth, and adult readers and numerates, to develop livelihood skills of AGTA parents and families, promote health and environmental awareness, discover the talents and skills of the AGTAs. What are the project strategies? Teach literacy and numeracy to young and adult AGTAs. Conduct livelihood training workshops for parents. Train AGTA families, hygiene and healthy environment, and to enhance talents of AGTAs through various programs. Recently, the project was chosen as third placer during the Challenge for 2020 online SAEM conference, which was sponsored by UNESCO APCU Korea. It was also chosen as one of the best videos for the global citizenship education. And it was also listed as one of the top 100 during the T4 Solutions Challenge, sponsored by T4. These are some of the literacy sessions during the conduct of Sunday classes. First picture, I am teaching a young boy how to write. And the second picture, I have here the leader of the 4-piece, Mr. We call him Tonyang. He is always coming to help me during Sunday class in our barangay. And the third picture where I am wearing the snug attire of Apayao. I am teaching under the tree. This was done during one Saturday because that was the available time I had for them. And the last picture again is I am teaching a little young boy how to write his name. This boy is deaf and mute, but he is very interested on how to write his name. Some of the numeracy sessions. The first picture, we are staying inside our barangay hall. If you can see there are parents because they also want to learn how to read and write. And the second picture, I have here my kids. This is my first kid helping me on teaching them how to hold their pencils. And this is my second child also helping me on how to teach them basic writing. Same with the third picture and the last picture. What are the programs and other activities? There are good-hearted persons who donated sleepers during this one Sunday session. So these kids were very happy receiving their pair of sleepers. If you can see their faces, they are really smiling. This one was during the Typhoon Kiel, where I visited them at the evacuation center because their houses were flooded. They have to evacuate, so I have to go there and visit and show some concern to them. I also helped the DSWD personnel in giving some of the donations. Another program, this was taken during last December 24, 2019. One of my friend back in college, Miss Julianne Respicio, volunteered to give some school supplies and relief donations for gift giving. If you can see there are sets of school supplies, some pre-loved clothes, and some goods for them to cook during the Christmas season. Okay, this is the Pamaskong Handog 2020. There was a talent show, and this program was sponsored by my brother-in-law, Roderick Macariola. All the gifts, the tokens, and the prizes were from his friends from FEU and some other good-hearted persons who voluntarily donated some of their resources just to come up with this program. Okay, now, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ibabaw. Well, before we proceed, and thank you formally for your first plenary talk, let me just ask you one question first. Can I do that? Dr. Ibabaw?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so my only question for you is that what inspired you to start Project I?
During my childhood days, it has always been my dream to help these kids because I have witnessed them struggling on how to get some of their source of living. I have witnessed how they really work hard in order to have food on their table. So when I was a scholar of the KPTEP and think of a project that could really help the community in promoting global citizenship education, I really thought of them first. How will I help this community in order for them that they could raise maybe one or two of their children to go to school? So since they could not send their children every day in school, I thought of this project that I could spare some of my time to teach them basic numeracy and literacy. By teaching them how to write and read, or just even to write their names, is really a big help to them so that someday maybe one or two of them
will finish their education and would help their families become better and to improve their status of living. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Ibabaw, for enlightening us with what Project AITA is all about. Since we do not have our second speaker, we shall proceed with our third speaker. Introducing to you our third speaker. She started working with a foreign-funded project of the Department of Education Third Elementary Education Project, or TEEP. Today, she is now Adept Ed Planning Officer 3. She is none other than Miss Geraldine Agbisit Pelobello. Hello, Miss Geraldine. Miss Geraldine, you're on mute. Can we listen to you? You're on mute, ma'am. Please tap the microphone icon on your screen. We cannot hear you, ma'am. There.
Hello.
Hello, Miss Geraldine. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon po.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you please share to us a bit of your experience with our indigenous communities here in your line of duty?
Hello. First, my experience with the AETA was when I was serving with the Department of Trade and Industry, where I serve as the Senior Trade and Industry Development Specialist, and I visit AETA community to look for some products that we could promote. So then I saw some of their good products and then started to tie up and promote their baskets with some big companies, actually big companies in Manila. So that's where I started trying to support the AETA weavers. And then later on, when I went back to the Department of Education, since I am a member of the DepEd School Governance and Operations Division, we visit schools situated in the IP community every year. And then there, I get to know some of the AETA learners and families. And so I personally share my experiences and observations to my family and some relatives about the learners there. And where I observed that some families were not able to send their children to school, and then they are really they find it difficult to make both ends meet and to support their family. And I'm very fortunate enough to have some family, some relatives and family who are very supportive and are willing to provide some assistance to these children. So some of my relatives would send some support to procure school supplies, health supplies, and other needs for the learners every year. And my family also support an AETA learner in the junior high school. So since she really wanted to finish her studies, but since her parents cannot afford to support her schooling, we took her under our care and tried to provide her needs. So today she's staying with us. So when other people ask us about her, I simply reply, she's with me and she's a part of my family and she's our scholar. So that maybe They can also think about supporting others by sending them to school and help them change their lives.
That is wonderful. That's actually a great story. That's tear-jerking, by the way. But then, Miss Geraldine, I would like to ask you. Oh my God, I'm about to cry. Sorry. That's a very emotional story, and I think people can learn from that. Now, my
Oh, thank
question
you,
to you
sir.
is, how do you think can we encourage more privileged students or youth to do their part in endeavors like this? How can we encourage them or make them part of movements like this?
Um, it really feels good when we know that we did something good for other people, especially those who are less fortunate one, like this Agta. When my son was in the junior high school, he usually talks about his AETA classmates and he was so emphatic about their situation. So he would gather some clothes for them and share some supplies and even ask to celebrate special occasion in their in the area of the Agtas instead of celebrating his birthday at home. And then I think it is really very important for us to show and to teach our children about basic and simple conduct, to teach them how to be caring and to be considerate to others. So they must know the struggles and the real situation of other people so that when they grow up, they will learn to appreciate what they have and learn to care for others.
That is well said, madam. Well, ma'am, can I ask you to please stay online
Yes, sir.
so that we can wait for the questions from our participants, okay? You have
Okay,
very,
sir.
very interesting stories, and I think most of our participants are already thinking of asking you a lot of things. Well, thank you so for your thoughts today, ma'am. So I'm now about to present to you our fourth speaker. She is the director of the International Cooperation Office of the Department of Education. She handles the international affairs of the department and also heads the APEC HRDWG Secretariat, focal point person for ASEAN and CMEO affairs. She is a teacher by profession and a strong advocate of global citizenship education. Without further ado, it is my honor to present to you Dr. Margarita Consolacion C. Ballesteros. Madam, can you please turn on your microphone so that we can hear you? There, thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Philippines. It's almost evening, I suppose. And good morning, also good afternoon to the other parts of the world. And thank you, Vikas, for highlighting the work of our Filipino teachers here in this part of the world in the Asia Pacific region, but particularly in the Philippines. If I may just give you a quick background, in the Philippines, our indigenous peoples compose of 33% in Luzon. Luzon is where Metro Manila is. And I am coming from the northern part, and this is still Luzon. 66% of them are in Mindanao area and 1% in the Visayas. Luzon is where the place of Dr. Chandler and where the AETA kids or AETA children also reside. The best and the most beautiful things in the world, Helen Keller said, cannot be seen or touched, but they are felt by the heart. I understand how Chandler felt as a young girl. I have been following her story as a teacher, as an educator, and in her portfolio, in her, if I may say it, in her heart's portfolio is one that is actually to show care and to reach out to those who have less in the community. And seeing her as a teacher, indeed, she's got this community leadership and at the same time school leadership. And having been in the education for almost 18 years now, but only 5 years at the Department of Education, or we call it here DepEd in the Philippines, I could say that indeed partners do play their own role, a very big role. And with the project Agta, which was conceived and conceptualized, while Dr. Chandler was one of the 20 teachers who were sent to Korea for the exchange program last year. They usually have to prepare their re-entry application projects. And this project, AETA of hers, was chosen as one of the very good project that will reach out to our children who cannot go to school and those who go to school but they don't go to school regularly. So mine is actually on the part of the NGOs. We cater or we work with the NGOs, private sector, and also the government offices. But here in particular with this project, we also have shown the proposal to the National Commission of the Indigenous Peoples, and we apologize that our dear friend is also at the budget hearing right now, so she cannot join us. Vika's here, and at this point in time, it's budget season, and if we say it's budget season, government officials would go to Congress and to Senate to defend the budget. And one by one, we have to explain to them where this amount of money should go and for what, or what is it for. So in the department, we have what we call our partnership framework, wherein there are times of the year that we welcome everyone, and that is starting at the Brigada Escuela. We involve all individuals, non-government organization, partners, industry stakeholders, all that, and we call that the Brigada Escuela or the Volunteerism Month, where everyone is invited to help the schools in the communities, or they have to adopt a school in a particular area of their interest. And we communicate that event of the department will happen usually at the last two weeks of May, where it used to be face-to-face. We have the first week of June as the national opening of the school year, of the new school year. But at this time of the pandemic, we did the launching online, virtually. Partners have been sending. That's why, you have seen in the presentation of Dr. Chandler that there have been pictures wherein masks, face shields, and hygiene kits were sent to them. You can imagine if I am 400 kilometers away from Metro Manila, I don't know how many thousands or how many hundreds of kilometers also is the place of Dr. Chandler. So basically, we communicate and we do send posters, pamphlets, write-ups. We do make use of the social media platforms to inform everyone that, hey, this is the week. If you have World Education Week, we also have the Brigada School Week, wherein everyone gets invited to help. That is how we touch also the attention of our friends from the private sector. In the government, we do have also a government office that takes care of the private-public partnership. And everyone is encouraged, especially those of the industry, those who are into the non-government organizations that are particularly looking at or catering at the education group. And also, we involve our local government officials, not only those at the barangay or the village level, but national level as well. So others, they would go back to their own schools. Others would go back to places where they have not been for the longest period of time, and either they would help or they bring something for the school, for the teachers, and for the learners. The same is still happening at this time. Even we are in the time of the pandemic, it is things could still be sent, and they are sent to the residences of the learners. With Project AETA, we thank Chandler for reaching out to this kids or children who don't go to school. And she actually, with the local government officials, the mayor, the congresswoman, and other officials of her village would really go and check on the kids, and not only the kids but also their parents. And proper hygiene is now being introduced to them, and I'm sure also that on how they prepare their food. And they highlight the highlight of this project ITA is actually to make them literate, for the children to be able to read, write, and do simple arithmetic, meaning it's basic. So it's a work wherein everyone is invited, everyone gets get to see what's happening, because a Chandler also makes use of her social media platform, and she would showcase, I mean, she would highlight what's happening, considering that what she is doing is beyond the required school hours of the Department of Education. She does her work on Sundays, meaning this is actually beyond her official time, rendered time at the school where she's working officially in Alem Elementary School in Apayao. She goes out to meet these kids on Sundays, teaches them, and sometimes she goes with the village officials or the chieftains, and also some of those who go up to the mountains, because the area is located on top of the mountain. And I understand Sir Roderick here is one of those who are really helping together with Madame Geraldine from the school governance division of the Department of Education regional office in the CAR, or the Cordillera Administrative Region. Really, this work of Chandler is an invitation for everyone, not only to look at the situation of our indigenous peoples with inclusive education. We don't tag them as, as different. We welcome everyone as one, and we try to reach out as much as we can. Diversity, beyond our capacities as human beings. If it is the heart, as Helen Keller said, if it is the heart that feels it. So what moves Chandler, I understand, and all of us here who are looking at what she's doing, is actually our desire to help, to be one with her, not only in support of SDG number 4, or for us to be responding to global citizenship, but primarily our main objective here is really to make these kids, these children, learn to count, learn to read, so they can also be at par with other people in the world, or just here in the country. Thank you, Roderick.
That is so heartfelt, ma'am. Thank you so much for telling us a lot about this. Well, before we give our floor to our participants, ma'am, and ask and get to hear their questions regarding our discussion for today, can I ask you one last thing before we wait for the question of the participants? Can we do that?
Sure.
Of course. Here. So what do you think is the impact of having other organizations work with you in projects like this? What is the impact of having other organizations or collaborating with other agencies in conducting events like this?
Oh, well, one is to really create an awareness that, if you're referring to the project of Chandler, is to create an awareness among us Filipinos and among citizens of the world that there are those who need our help. So the impact would be seen, or its outcomes could be seen on this project. With maybe we can ask Chandler how many came in to help and what are they doing, or they can also ripple it, meaning they will also see in their own communities who else is in need, or what can they do as well. The group of Chandler, there are 20 teachers of them. Actually, they're doing a number of things in support of the SDGs. Roderick, if you notice, I have my background here are the 17 goals.
Yeah, I can see that, ma'am.
And if you try to look at it, Chandler is not only looking at SDG number 4. She could also be looking at SDG number 13, or that of equality, justice, and peace. All of these things, So the impact is seen when this project gets also its recognition, not only in the world, but most primarily in our country, and gets support from the government.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marge, as what they usually call you. Thank you so much for all your insights, Madam. Now I am ready to enter. Can you please stay with us for the questions that can be raised from our participants, Madam? Okay, so I'm ready to entertain questions from our participants, and please indicate in your questions whether you want a specific panelist to answer your questions or anybody can. So while we are ongoing with our event, I have already received a question here. So from an anonymous participant. So it's addressed to the proponent of the project, Dr. Ibabaw. So the question is, in what ways can we understand the needs of communities around us? So the question is coming from someone who wants to understand the needs of communities around us. Dr. Ibabaw?
Yes. Through Project AETA, schools can assess as to what they can do to help out the youth and families of these groups. Education being the primary goal, other aspects of the lifestyle need also to be considered. For example, the safety of their homes from dangers and calamities can be another point of improvement. There can also be suggestions and programs as to how to keep a good personal hygiene, relevant and timely to the current situation which we are facing right now, the pandemic, the COVID-19. Their health condition must also be revisited so as to assure that they get to live healthy and maintain a conducive living environment. Project AETA sees to it that health, safety, and hygiene is a priority. That's why during one Sunday afternoon, I had one event where we distributed some hygiene kits together with one person from the NCIP of our locality in Pudtol, in the person of Marjorie Malapit Galot, who helped me in the distribution of some face masks and soaps and alcohol for their safety. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ibabaw. That is very interesting. And here's a question anybody can answer. Maybe Miss Pelubelio and Dr. Marge can answer this question. So the question goes, volunteerism is now a diminishing idealism for the youth. How can we invite them for this call to action? Volunteerism is now a diminishing idealism for the youth, especially this pandemic. How can we invite them to call for the call to action? Miss Marge first.
Okay, thank you for the question, Roderick. Actually, that is the point of our conversation 2 weeks ago with the other teachers, other colleagues of Chandler all over the Philippines. Basically, if your impression is volunteerism is diminishing at this time of the pandemic, to me, I don't think so, because there are still ways by which we can engage our youth. Is if we are looking at the implementation or creation of activities or projects as regards to the sustainable development goals, we have one very active teacher also who is with her project Yakap, or it's a youth project to make the SDGs walk, if we call it that way. And they are using the social media platform. They have been going around the country virtually, conferences, workshops, because if we don't engage them from the very basic stuff, yes, really, I would say it's a way of forgetting and disregarding to volunteer. But at this time of the pandemic, we can still see a lot of them, and it's usually with the social media platform, and they have a number of things ongoing. Those who can those who can go to plant a tree or plant trees, they go, but that is also seen or advertised or shared in their social media platforms. Aside from all of these things, of course, there are numerous initiatives down there but are not reported. I know some they're doing in the Visayas and here in the north. Aside from tree planting with the youth, not only at this time of the pandemic, but even before. At this time of the pandemic, they can go, but in numbers, not in a huge number, but only a few. And they also do tutoring, and that's volunteerism. And they also do they give training for free, and all of these things, not only teachers but the younger ones. It's only a matter of we teachers igniting the desire of our youth to do something for their fellow youth, if not for the community where they are in.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marge, for informing us that volunteerism isn't diminishing, that it still is a living spirit in our youth today. Miss Geraldine? Miss Geraldine?
Hello? Hello, sir.
Hello, madam. I
Okay.
actually wanted you to answer the same question, but then hold on that.
Okay.
There are loads of questions coming in, but then we can accommodate this last one. Ayon. So here's the question, madam. What is your message to those who exclude these indigenous peoples and those who bully them? What is your message to those who exclude these indigenous peoples and those who bully them?
Um, I think there's no need for us to bully this, especially this Agta. We need not to bully them. Instead, we should support them since they are also human beings like us, and um, we should be the one who will support them and to take care of them since they are really very vulnerable. So I would like to be an example to some of the youth or the kids out there, where I try to encourage my son, my only I only have one son. I always encourage him to be kind and to support this kind of people since they really need some help and need support. So I try to tell him to, instead of, because
Wait,
sometimes he used,
conclude na tayo.
okay na? Oo.
Apo, ma'am.
Kasi they really need this support. So we should not bully them. Instead, we should try to encourage other kids to support and to take care of them.
Thank you, Miss Geraldine. Ayon. And another information coming from Dr. Marge that we also have the Philippine National Volunteers Office. So should there be any one of you, we have ample time, all of us in home quarantine, students doing their modules at home. So it's also imperative that we take new learnings from these ones. And we also would like to we have to maximize the time that we have during all this quarantine. Ayon. So thank you so much for everyone who took part in this event. In conclusion, our speakers were able to present to us innovative ways to reach out to indigenous communities. From expanding school reach to these communities, we get to understand their needs and involve more interested parties, agencies, and organizations. This leaves us with a challenge to do our part with inclusive education for our indigenous brothers and sisters. With that being said, let us thank our speakers, Dr. Ibabaw. Dr. Ibabaw, are you still here? Please bid goodbye to our participants.
Thank you for attending this live session. Thank you for patiently listening to us and sharing our experiences and some practices that others could replicate. Thank you so much.
Miss Geraldine, do you have a final message?
Um, thank you for participating in this event. So I encourage everyone to please support this AGTA and this project because in some ways we will be a part or an instrument in changing their lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Geraldine. And now, Dr. Marge Ballesteros. Last words, ma'am, before we
Um,
take part from this event.
Well, for our friends, not only here in the Philippines, but all over the world, the Project AETA is only one of the many things being done all over the world to cater to the needs of our less fortunate brothers and sisters. But we don't call them having less. Instead, we call them having the need for our attention. So let's join hands and let's try to help each other, not only at this time of the pandemic, but particularly help our children to become better persons, better version of who we are at the moment, so that they will also be having, or they will also have, a better world in the next years to come and beyond. So mabuhay ang Project AGTA and Project AITA, and thank you T4, thank you Vicas for this, and to all the partners for the World Education Week, for the global showcase of 100 schools. On behalf of our minister, the Honorable Secretary Leonor Magdolis Briones, we extend our thanks to Vicas and to the rest of the T4 World Education Week organizers. Congratulations, Chandler.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marge. Our deepest appreciation for T4 and all who made World Education Week a memorable and truly historic event. To God be all glory. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Vikas. Thank you, Direk. Thank you, Ma'am Geraldine.
Thank you po.
Thank you, everyone.